So you're trying to hang a blind and you've hit a steel lintel. We've all been there, and it's a right pain in the backside. And I'm going to show you today how to get around it with limited frustration and not many tools either. This is one of them skills that you're going to want to add to your DIY arsenal. First of all, how do we know we've hit a steel lintel? Well, firstly, you can hear a metallic sound if you bang your drill bit against it. It's a very different sound to a concrete lintel. Secondly, I don't know if the camera will pick this up, you'll get some little metal shavings on the end of your drill bit. And the last clue is you sometimes hear the masonry bit squeaking on the metal. So you've most certainly hit a steel lintel. So first of all, take hold of the bracket that you're going to be fixing to the top of the window reveal, and we'll make the marks for the screws. So we'll mark 2 holes because we've got 2 screws that need to go up into the window reveal. Now you've probably done this bit already if you've found out that you've hit a steel lintel, but what we're going to do first of all, before we do anything else, is make a 6mm hole with a 6mm masonry drill bit. We'll just make a hole up through the first layer of plasterboard until we hit the steel. So now you can hear that we've hit the steel lintel, but how are we going to get through it? Well, there's a few techniques that are really important and a few tools that you're going to need as well. Nothing really specialist, but they do need to be the right tools to get through that steel lintel. So let me show you what you're going to need. A lot of people think that they need an extra powerful drill or something like that. Well, you don't, and that is why I'm going to use the little Milwaukee 12-volt combi drill. It's not very powerful, but it's nice and light and it's easy to work with, and you'll see why that helps me in a minute. But the point is that you don't need a big drill for this, because this thing's tiny and it will get through that steel lintel. Next thing we need is some good sharp HSS metal drill bits. I like to use the Milwaukee Thunderwebs just because they're ridiculously sharp. They stay sharp and they'll go through that steel lintel, no trouble at all. But any good quality HSS drill bit will go through that steel lintel. So make sure you got one of them, and in this case it needs to be a 6mm one. All the items that you see me using in the video today will be linked in the description below. The next thing you're going to need is a bar clamp, but it's important that you get one that has a foot that can be turned around to be made into a spreader, and you'll see why that is when we make a start on drilling into the lintel. And the last thing you're going to need is a scrap length of timber. So now the fun begins. How are we going to get through that steel lintel so that we can get a good fixing for our blind? What you don't want to do is stand there with a metal drill bit like this, because you're just going to be stood there for ages. You cannot maintain that upward pressure working above your head. You ain't going to get through that piece of steel. So I'm going to show you my top tip on how we can get through that. So what we're going to do next is we're going to create sustained pressure onto the lintel, a bit like a pillar drill. And the trick to this is to put in a lot of pressure on that piece of steel, sustainable pressure as well, and using a really slow drill speed to cut our way through that piece of steel. So you want your drill on its slowest setting. Speed is your enemy. We want to go nice and slowly with can't say that word, sustained pressure onto that piece of steel, and we will get through it. Right, let's build our little rig. So first of all, take an offcut of timber, and you want that piece of timber to be around 50mm shorter than the height of the window. You should then place that piece of timber directly underneath the hole that we made in the plasterboard just a minute ago. You should then take hold of your clamp and your drill at the same time. Place your clamp on top of the piece of timber and then take hold of your combi drill. Next up, we position our drill bit just underneath the hole and we begin to tighten the clamp very gradually until the drill bit hits the steel lintel. So now we can go ahead and depress the trigger on the drill and then let that pressure and nice slow pace cut through the steel lintel. and you're going to see a few little bits of metal start to fall down, probably onto your windowsill. They're little bits of swarf. Be patient, it's still going to take a couple of minutes for that drill bit to cut through that lintel. And that is the perfect speed, nice and slow. And you'll feel now, there we go, that's gone. That has now passed through the steel, and that took, I'd guess, only around 2 minutes. My arm's not aching because I haven't been working above my head trying to put loads of pressure on. Doing it like this just makes it a really nice, easy job. So what we'll do now is I'll finish these couple of holes here. I'll put that bracket up, and then we'll time how long exactly that takes to go through the steel on the next hole. So we're now going to set the timer and drill this hole through the steel. Before we do that, make sure if you like DIY content, you have subscribed to the channel because you don't want to miss out, and make sure you give the video a like if this has helped you out today, because that really does help the video to reach and help more people just like you on YouTube. Right, let's get on and time to see how quick we can get through that piece of steel. We've got a bit of pressure on there. Let's hit the timer and start drilling. And we are through in 43 seconds. That is the quickest I've done one yet. Normally it takes a little bit longer than that. You can see how quick you can actually get through a steel lintel just by using this method. And we can now do up the screw with no problem at all. I know what you're thinking, what metal lintel? I'm going to get on with hanging this blind now, but I hope this video's helped you. If it has, you're probably going to like one of the videos that'll pop up somewhere here, so go check one of them out. And I'll see you guys in the next one.